Good evening guys, I hope you're all doing really well. This is a bit of a different video for me. I'm actually just gonna cozy up on my bed. It is past bedtime, it's 8:30. I've sorted everything that I needed to sort downstairs. George is in bed and has been for at least about half an hour, 45 minutes. And I've just done all my skincare and I'm pretty much ready for bed. I'm actually just having a cup of tea and I thought I would pick up the camera and just catch up with you guys because it feels like I've been a little bit vacant, like a little bit absent from YouTube, even though I haven't really, I only skipped one video, but it kind of felt like it to me. And yeah, over on Instagram and stuff, and I spoke about it a little bit on my stories. I've just been having one of those like couple of weeks where everything is just like one thing after another. I thought it'd be really cool to just sit here. I did ask you guys to ask me some questions over on my Instagram, which you guys did. You asked me loads and loads of stuff. So I've got loads of different questions to get through. So I thought I would do a little catch up video slash, you know, Q&A thing. So, and I've got my cup of tea at the ready. So yeah, I'd grab yourself a cup of tea, grab some snacks, and let's catch up. Before we jump into this video, I just want to say thank you so much to Readly for sponsoring this part of the video. If you guys don't know what Readly is, which I'm sure you do because I've spoken about it loads of times, but also it's everywhere and everyone is talking about it, and for good reason, because Readly has over 7,000 different magazines on one app, completely paperless, which is just amazing. You'll see when we get into this video from the questions that I've got. It's been a little bit of a struggle parenting wise recently, especially when it comes to like the terrible twos and toddlerhood, and I've actually gone on to Readly and I've basically found answers that I haven't been able to get anywhere else through some of the magazines that I've been reading on the app. What I really like is you can go onto the search function and search anything that you want to search, but equally there's lots of different sections that you can go onto. So for example, if I tap onto parenting and family, it comes up with all of the magazines that are relevant to that search, and for me I found that the Green Parent is a really good one. So that one has all of the different editions to the Green Parent, which is really good because you can look at loads of different like editions of that same magazine. But equally I really loved, it's called Working Mum. So yeah, Working Mother, and it's like working mother, now what am I supposed to do now? And I could relate to that so hard. There are so many different like look how many different ones. This is just of one magazine, for example, and there's just so many on that topic that I know that I'm going to get so much use out of. So that's one of the things that I really love about Readly, that I can get out of it, and I feel like a lot of you guys will be able to relate to that as well. It doesn't have to be necessarily about motherhood, but it could be whether you're starting a hobby, whether you are looking for interiors stuff or recipes. I use it a lot for recipes, especially like when George was doing like baby-led weaning. I definitely used Readly quite a lot for the like inspiration as to what to cook for him and stuff, but now I do it more for like family friendly meals, for example, like BBC Good Foods on there. Like it's all really good stuff, and so yeah, I use Readly for that, and they're really kindly offering you guys 6 weeks free of Readly, so you can go on there, access absolutely everything for 6 weeks, and then you can cancel it at any time if you wanted to. I have a unique code down in the description box that gets you it for free for 6 weeks. So if you're looking for something where you can access like really useful information on a variety of different topics, and actually it works really well now that I've got a little bit of time where I'm commuting in the mornings. It's going into my new job, I'm going once a week, and on that train into London we're going to talk about this a little bit in the video, bye, but I can actually just like go onto Readly, read a few articles, have my coffee, and it like works into my little routine really nicely. If it sounds like something that's up your street, then I would definitely check out the discount code that is down in the description box. But anyway, for now, let's get on into the very honest Q&A and catch up. So the question I got the most when I spoke to you guys over on Instagram was, how is your new job? What is your new job? How are you finding your new job? Why did you change jobs? Basically everything about work. And it's not something that I talk about loads on Instagram, or on YouTube really, just because of the kind of work that I do. But I have done a couple of videos like way back when I first started YouTube about what my job is and sort of like what I do basically. And it is sometimes hard to explain, but basically I'm a civil servant, and I work for a government department. And basically, since I have moved, I wasn't able to continue the job that I was doing because we like relocated. So I have started a new job. It is still in the civil service. It's a very similar role to the one that I was doing previously, but it is in a different team. And it was my first week last week, and this is my second week, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Like, the team seem really lovely. I'm really enjoying it. It's just obviously when you start a new job, especially in like that kind of sort of office environment, it's quite like full on in terms of like your time. You've obviously got to be really present, and like that's the same with any job really, to be honest. Like, you just always, especially in a new job, you want to make a good impression, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I've just kind of been focusing on that really, and it's really positive, and I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it's just that it definitely takes up a lot of my time and energy to be in that like headspace. It's such a weird thing. Like, any other kind of working mum will get this, in terms of like switching between being mum mode and work mode. It's really difficult. And then obviously, like, if I try and do YouTube on top of that as well, it's like kind of like 3 different mindsets that I have to get into. So yeah, at the moment I was just kind of figuring out like my bearings, I guess. But yeah, it has been really good, like I said, and it is sort of slightly different in that I will have to go into the office only once a week, which is really cool, but it is a bit of a commute because I have to go into London, so it's just that whole like getting used to that. And like on the day that I go into London, like I have to sort childcare for like picking George up from nursery and dropping him off and stuff, because I won't get back till late, but that's all like worked out pretty well. It's just, you know, just sorting all of those things out and like getting used to the new like routine, I guess. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers like the work questions. I don't really like to go into like loads of detail about what I do and stuff on the internet, just because I find it really strange, because it's such a different world, it's such a different part of my life that yeah, I don't talk about it too much, I guess. Plus I also think it's probably quite boring for quite a lot of you guys, although I have actually spoken to a few of you on Instagram that are also civil servants and also have like similar jobs that I have, so that's quite cool. So if you are a civil servant and you watch my videos as well, then definitely hit me up in the comments and chat to me on DMs and stuff like that, because I'm sure you'll sort of get it in terms of like keeping that kind of thing separate from YouTube. But yeah, anyway, that is work-wise what is happening. I did also get a question about whether I'm going like full-time, part-time, what that means for George and what that means for like my husband and stuff. So basically nothing has changed in terms of my working hours. I do 30 hours a week, 4 days a week, so it is still like part-time. I've just changed like my non-working day to a Friday, which actually works out better for us because my husband gets back on a Friday afternoon, so it means like when he's back I'm already off work, George is off nursery, and we can spend like the afternoon together, which is obviously really nice. If you guys don't know, then my partner, he works away, he's in the military, so he works away during the week and then comes back on the weekends. So yeah, it'd be nice that I'm off work when he's off work, sort of thing, and then yeah, we can obviously spend time with like quality time, family time with George and everything. So yeah, that is what's happening work-wise. And in terms of like pay and stuff, it's slightly more pay, but to be honest, it probably just about covers, like the increase in pay just about covers the travel costs in terms of getting in and out of London, and parking and all that, stations and blah blah. So that is what's happening work-wise. So far so good, and like logistically it works a lot better for me and stuff like that, obviously, because I can actually continue to work there, which is perfect. I also had quite a lot of questions about like how I manage my time in terms of like juggling between work, childcare, YouTube, like cooking, like just general life stuff, especially with being like a solo parent. Actually one person specifically asked quite a lot of questions about this, so I think probably they're in a similar situation to me, maybe, I don't know, but basically like it's quite hard, I'm not gonna lie, and definitely over the last couple of weeks I've noticed that difference, and I think anyone with a toddler will know like their emotions are all over the place all the time, and that in itself is quite difficult to navigate, along with like the guilt of like maybe leaving them at childcare, even though you know what, George has the best day at nursery like every single day, and never wants to come home, but it's just still, you have that in the back of your mind, don't you? Well, at least I do anyway. And in terms of like managing my time is something that I've always struggled with. If you look back on any of my vlogs, you'll probably see me like frantically doing one thing then the other. It's just something that I kind of just am never stopping, which sometimes I think is probably a little bit unhealthy, but at the moment it's sort of what I've got to do to get to where I want to be, sort of thing. So what I mean by that is I would love to be in a position where at some point, probably in like a year or so, I don't know, I would like to maybe cut down my hours slightly in my like corporate job and do like a job share or something like that, and continue to do YouTube at the same sort of rate that I am now, like a couple of videos a week, that kind of thing, but it be more manageable, and also have George in childcare slightly less. So at the moment he goes in 4 full days a week, and I've always said this, like in my ideal world I think I'd probably have him in nursery like in the mornings or in the afternoons, like not complete full days, because I feel like I don't get the quality time with him that I'd like during the week. And yeah, so I obviously have like the 3 days on a weekend, so like obviously it'll be now Friday, Saturday, Sunday that I have with him, which I absolutely love, but I still don't feel like it's enough. And like especially like in the evenings, especially in the week and stuff, I just feel like George is very, very tired after nursery, after having such a fun day. But then I sort of just like have to do the whole bedtime routine, bath time, bedtime, and then it's like he's just gone, and it's like, oh okay, like I've been looking forward to that time all day to spend some time with him, and it's like over already, sort of thing. So yeah, I would love to cut down his hours at nursery at some point, but still, like him going to nursery, I 100% love the fact that he goes to nursery, love the fact that he's so confident, he's that kid that will make friends with anyone, play with anyone, like he's super outgoing, and he learns so much from nursery. But it's just one of them things that like the guilt definitely plays on me, so I don't know if any of you guys are the same. I don't know if I'm just being a bit crazy, but whatever it is, it's like it's something that I would definitely like to do at some point. I also seem to have got a lot of questions about my car. So my car recently broke down, if you guys don't know, so it just doesn't really feel like one thing after the other recently, like new job, my car broke down, can't get to my new job, can't get my son to nursery because nursery's the other side of town, but yeah, so my car broke down annoyingly. It was just basically this thing where there's like a known fault on Mini engines or BMW engines, that like basically this engine fault, something happens and then it literally just crashes, like rather than giving you like a warning. You know, sometimes you get like a warning light and you go into the, if you get it sorted sooner rather than later, it's generally okay. Mine literally came on, and then it just stopped working, like the engine started spluttering, and that was that. And I was like, wow, okay, that went from 0 to 100 real quick. So yeah, at the moment I'm just in the process of getting that seen. I actually managed to get it towed to the garage, and it's being seen at the moment as I'm filming this. Well, probably not right now because it's like 8:30 at night, but after like today it'll probably get looked at, and fingers crossed it's not gonna be too bad in terms of like how much it will cost to fix it, but it will probably be a couple of £1,000s, which is really frustrating because I was in the process of saving money towards a new car because I wanted to get a new car, just because the Mini that I've got is it's just slightly too small for a toddler. All the stuff that the toddler needs, getting a toddler into the car, like I have to sort of crouch down, get him into the car seat, and the car seat that I've got is like one of those 360 spin car seats, which is amazing, and I would highly recommend a 360 car seat, but they are on an ISOFIX base and they're highly, like they're raised quite high, so to get George in, he has to, like I have to like, if he got any taller basically it would be almost impossible in that car. So I want to get a bigger car. I want to get probably some sort of like small SUV family car, but I don't know yet because I don't know how much my car is going to cost to fix, because my car is probably worth about £6,000 or £7,000 if it was in working condition. Now, when I took it to We Buy Any Car with the engine fault, as it was, they offered me 1,500, and it's like, it's worth so much more than that even with the engine fault. So I thought, you know what, I'll bite the bullet and I'll spend the £2,000, if it's that, probably that's what I've been quoted anyway, on getting the engine fault fixed, and then hopefully then I'll be able to sell it for like £6,000, and then I'll have that towards my new car, and then just continue saving, I guess, until we get there, and I might have to even get a little loan out from the bank, which is just so frustrating because I worked so hard to pay for my car outright rather than getting it on finance, and I really didn't want to get anything on finance because I'm just trying to do this thing where I save for something before I buy it rather than getting it on finance and then having to like repay it, just because like I think that's a healthier relationship for me to have with money, like, and objects, and like if I can't afford something I shouldn't buy it. Like that's just my mentality now, whereas before I was very much like, oh, I can just get that on interest-free finance, or I can just get that on finance, it's fine. And then you have all the stuff that you want, but then you're paying it back, so you're like, you know, you're chasing your tail all the time. And I really just wanted to be in a position where I didn't have to do that, and didn't have any debt or anything. But it just doesn't look like that's going to be possible. Sometimes just life happens, doesn't it? Sometimes life happens and you have to sort of go with it, and that's sort of where I am now. I'm trying to come to terms with that. And it could be a lot worse. But yeah, like I said, I just worked really hard to be not in debt, and now it just seems like, oh, okay, life just throws it back at you. I mean, that is just life, isn't it? Speaking of money and like budgeting and stuff, I had quite a few questions about budgeting and how my incomings and outgoings are going now that we have moved house, and obviously we've got a bigger house now, which meant a bigger mortgage. Obviously things with the car, like a few people have mentioned like the car and the budgeting and like how's that gonna go and all that stuff. So I think in the future, very near future, probably in the next video actually, I'll do maybe like a budget review, because I do every year actually do a like 2020, 2021 or 2022 like budget spreadsheet that I sell over on Etsy, and it's a download that you can digitally do and basically put in all your incomings, your outgoings, figure out how much you've got left over at the month, and be like really honest with yourself about what you spend, where you spend it, and it really makes you realise like where you're spending your money, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should cut down on that, or maybe I should cut down on this. The one that I did for this year obviously was in January 2022. I forgot the year then. It was in January 2022, and that was when we were in our old house, and like my income was different because I had a different job. I didn't have any debts, but my mortgage payments were much less. Childcare was much more, so everything has changed slightly where we've moved house and everything. So I will definitely be doing an updated one very soon for my own benefit, and hopefully some of you guys will relate as well, especially with like the increase in, well, life. Like everything seems to be going up right now, money wise. So yeah, I think I will be doing a budget spreadsheet, but generally we're fine like money wise, but I am very lucky that I have a second income through YouTube. If I didn't have that, I would be really struggling right now, and there's no way, I don't think that I would be able to continue working and paying for childcare and have like, we wouldn't be able to like have this house, for example. Like it's just one of them things, like it makes you realise, wow, like if I was on one income I'd be really struggling right now. Yeah, it definitely like brings me back down to earth when I'm like saying about my car, like, oh, woe is me that I've got to pay out for my car, but actually what if I had to do that and I didn't have like a second income to help me like pay for a new car or whatever. So yeah, it's just one of them things. Like I do just feel like the world is mad, and genuinely sometimes if I think about it too much it gives me a headache. Like it actually gives me anxiety to like think about these things for too long, to be honest. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I feel like my headspace is very much like a bit overwhelmed right now. Like I do just feel like everything is a bit much. I just feel like every corner is coming at me and like wants something from me, and it's a completely different thing, and I just feel a little bit overwhelmed with it all. I felt like that in the past, but I know that it's a phase, so I'm trying for it to like not get to me, but gosh, it just feels like everything is just like constant at the moment. Speaking of being overwhelmed, there's loads of questions about how George is doing, and has he hit his terrible twos yet? How do I deal with tantrums and general like parenting tips like that? And I feel like right now is not the time to be asking me for parenting tips, because you know when you just feel like you're not doing anything right. Again, I know it's a phase and I know it will pass, like everything does. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything passes. But at the moment, George is definitely going through something, some sort of like developmental leap, some sort of growth spurt, or some sort of just being a toddler and figuring life out, basically. Like he just seems like his brain is wired constantly, and he's definitely in that like pushing boundaries territory, and I'm finding it difficult to navigate. When it's me and my husband together, I definitely don't feel like that as much. Like on the weekends, for example, like I do find it a lot easier to manage. I feel like maybe because my mind isn't like here, there and everywhere, because we're splitting the workload in terms of like household stuff, admin, childcare, like we're splitting it 50-50. But when he's not here, I'm doing it all the time on my own. It's always in my brain, and he doesn't really have to do any of that when he's not here. Or I'm sure he's thinking about it, but like he doesn't have to like execute any of those things. So when it is just me and George, I do find it tricky sometimes. I try my best to like understand where he's coming from, what might be going through his head, but I find it difficult sometimes when he is literally like mid tantrum and like there's a safety element involved, and that's the main thing. Like I'll let him have his tantrums and I'll let him like play out whatever it is that he needs to like let out, but when it comes to like a safety thing, it really freaks me out. So for example, we go out for walks quite a lot. He's always on his like little balance bike, or if he's walking, like he loves being like free to do what he wants. And we have like quite a lot of safe places to like do that, like cycle tracks and stuff like that, obviously with no bikes coming, but like it's pretty safe for him to do that, and it's quite a pretty quiet little cycle track or like a field or something. Like it's pretty safe for him to do what he wants to do, which is a great way of him like having his autonomy in a safe way. But when we come up to a road, or when we come up to, you know, a situation where he might have to hold my hand or I might have to carry him for a little bit, he goes ballistic. And guys, when it comes to, I can handle him being ballistic at me, that's fine, but when it's in front of people and when it comes to safety, like that's the main thing for me. I'm so worried that something might happen to him because he is so reckless. Like he's a toddler obviously, and for me, like my main priority is obviously to keep him safe. And when he is lashing out at me, literally the other day, and I don't know if you can see this on the camera, it probably isn't showing because I've got my ring light on, he was like he literally grabbed me so hard here, his nails went into my eye sockets, and he like scratched me all down here, and I just didn't know what to do. Like he was, because I was holding him because he was trying to run into the road or something like that, and then he was just like grabbing me and like just being literally like the Exorcist, and I was just like, wow, like I'm literally trying to save you right now. And the thing is, it's so annoying because you know that it's not personal, obviously. Like everything that's going on inside his head is like 100 miles per hour. He's struggling to like let his emotions out and he wants to be heard. I get it, mate. You want to be heard, I want to hear you, but I really don't want you to be run over. And that's like the thought that's going through my head at all times. And I just feel like, am I doing this whole thing wrong? Am I doing too much of the, oh, okay, I'm trying to do the gentle parenting thing and I'm trying to let you, like let your emotions out and hear you and let you know that I understand what you're going through. That's the route that I try and go down. But then this happens and I just think, am I just doing it wrong? Do I need to be stricter with him? Do I need to be firmer? I just don't know, and I never know. And I feel like sometimes it works wonders. And actually on that same walk, the next time we came to a road, he came up to me and gave me his hand. He's like, "Mummy," and like asked to hold my hand because I'd explained it to him previously. So then I was like, great, it does work. But equally, I just don't know. And I follow loads of Instagram pages that seem to just know what to do. And then I realised that actually everyone is guessing. Everyone is in this like motherhood journey or parenthood journey. Like they're learning alongside their toddlers. And for me, like I know that I have to cut myself some slack sometimes, especially when I'm on my own, because no one is perfect. You're not perfect, your toddler's not perfect. Like just sometimes I do get a little bit caught up in it and I feel like everything is going wrong, whereas it's not. It's just in that moment something hasn't happened exactly how I wanted it to happen. So I think it's a little bit of like letting that control go, maybe. I don't really know, but I also think there's a lot to do with mindset, like where I've been saying like other things in my life going on at the moment, I feel like I can easily let that have a negative effect on like what I'm doing parenting wise. So I'm really trying to separate all of those things and just focus on the little section of life that I'm trying to tackle in that moment. But yeah, in terms of parenting tips, I really don't have many. I just do what I feel like is best at the time and I'm just trying my best, and I feel like that's most of us are doing that, right? Equally, I probably should say this because I'm trying to tell myself this, is don't believe everything that you see online and don't believe everything you can see when it's all like rose tinted glasses and it's picture perfect, because that is not real life. Sometimes it is and it's amazing and I love it when it's like that, of course, but it's not always. And I feel like we always as just people in society just have to remember that, because life's hard and you don't always want to share the hard things online, which is I kind of guess what this video is sort of about, in terms of like just being really honest with you about like, I haven't got like one specific thing where like something's happened and I'm feeling like really rubbish about it. It's like, it feels like general life. It's just a bit difficult at the moment, and it's just about like navigating that. And I guess just being like transparent with you guys that, yeah, I might normally be like, oh, happy, and like, how do you do solo parenting and always be happy all the time? Like, it's not true. Like, I'm not happy all the time, of course I'm not, like no one is, but I do try and stay as positive as I can, because otherwise I think I'd go insane. But everyone has their own little ways of dealing with like struggles and stuff like that, so yeah, just I think remembering that not everything you see is exactly what it is all the time. I think those are like the main questions I got, I guess, in terms of like the big sort of set pieces, and I think you guys have nailed it, because actually they're all the kind of things that I wanted to like get off my chest, and you asking the questions has actually allowed me to do that, so thank you guys so much. The other big one that came up a lot, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, because I've like made a couple of reels about it jokingly, is, are you pregnant? Are you trying for baby number 2? Baby number 2 on the way? What does your partner think about baby number 2, etc. And like, I would actually like to say this, when I do reels, guys, don't take them for gospel, because it's very much like a joke and like a bit of fun more than anything. Like, everything that I say on reels is definitely not like gospel. Anyway, I would just like to say, no, I'm not pregnant, not at the moment. It's definitely something that we will be hopefully trying to do at some point. I mean, that's really vague, I know, but it's just one of those things that like, it's just a bit much right now, and I don't think adding to that right this second is the sensible choice, especially where I'm on my own at the moment. Ash is hardly here anyway, like he's here 3 days a week, sort of, 2.5 days a week, so even trying to do that is probably going to prove difficult. I would maybe also just say, like, it's probably not a question you want to go around asking too much, because you never know what someone's experience is and what they're going through at the time, if they can have kids, if they are having issues or anything like that. So I think some sensitivity around that is probably quite, yeah, like just important. Like, something that I've learned, like before I had kids, I would ask that question all the time, just, and not even thinking, because infertility or like issues with conception or anything like that, or like even just general like the emotions around trying to conceive, those things were not things that crossed my mind before I had a kid. And now I'm like, oh, imagine if someone asked me that and I was like having, you know, issues, or was just even trying and it hadn't happened, I probably would be emotional about it. So yeah, it's just not something that I would ask anymore. However, I realise that you guys are probably just excited for that news if it ever came, but yeah, anyway, that's just something that I wanted to say. Anyway, I feel like that is probably everything that I wanted to catch up with you guys about. Obviously, let me know if you wanted to know anything else, and I will probably cover that off in future vlogs and Q&As and stuff like that. But I've actually really enjoyed this, like sitting down with my cup of tea, having a chat with you guys, and actually just like letting some stuff off my chest. Like, you know, when you just sometimes want a little bit of a rant, and I feel like that's what this video has been. But so thank you so much, and well done if you made it this far, because I do feel like maybe I've gone a little bit deep on a couple of things. I feel like it was very honest, it was very realistic. It's just sort of the stuff that's going on inside my brain, in my life at the moment. So I hope you have enjoyed it somewhat and you can relate in any way, and if you can, definitely like this video, because I like to know that I'm not alone in this life. But anyway, as a final reminder, don't forget to check out Readly in the description box if it's something that you are interested in. It's completely free for the first 6 weeks, and you can cancel it at any time, so you have absolutely nothing to lose, really. But yeah, I think I'm going to now. I've got a very cold cup of tea here. I only drank about half of it, so I think I am just gonna turn in for the night. I've actually got some water here, finish this, and then go and brush my teeth, and then I think it's bedtime for me, because I'm absolutely knackered. But yeah, anyway, I will love you and leave you, and I'll see you very, very soon in the next one. Don't forget to let me know what you guys want to see next. I'll make sure to create that content for you. But yeah, anyway, for now, guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.